Hello and welcome to this first look at a session looking at comedy of Timon. It's from a manuscript. It dates to probably somewhere around 1602, maybe 1603. Some people have all sorts of notions that it could be much earlier than that, and by all sorts of people, but we don't know who it's by. We don't really know where it comes from or what universe it's from. We just have a script, which is mostly complete. There are a few minor lacunae in the text, some of which are just about our editorial procedures. There's some stuff in Greek which never got transposed, so we will just mark that there should be some Greek at some point, which is an error that is my fault. Otherwise, there are a couple of minor potential gaps in the text, but otherwise it's fairly complete. Reading Timon themselves is today
Liza Graham, jack of all trades, master of sod all in London.
Reading Eutrapelus and Pseudeocheus is
Rachael, actor on the East Coast.
Reading Paedio and Callimela is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and my mic is way over here, so I need...
Yes. I'm assuming that was deliberate. Otherwise, we'll never hear from Eric again. Reading Abyssus and Blatte is...
This is Tom from Brighton.
And reading, making sure I check the right bit in the list, Hermogenes and Philargurus is...
As a struggling historian in London.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions. I will also be reading, for the moment at least, Lachus and Gelasimus, though I may pass some of those over to other people as and when we get to easier moments to figure that out. But I haven't figured it out yet, so we're sticking with it as it is for the moment, with Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Timon and Lachus.
Lachus, hast thou received my rents?
Master, I have, and brought in sacks filled with golden talents. Is your pleasure that I cast them into prison?
Into prison? Why so?
Let your chests be the prison, your locks the keeper, and your keys the porter. Otherwise they'll fly away, swifter than birds or winds.
I will no miser be. Fly, gold, enjoy the sunbeams. 'Tis not fit bright gold should lie hid in obscurity. I'll rather scatter it among the people. Let poor men somewhat take of my great plenty. I would not have them grieve that they went empty from Timon's threshold, and I will not seem my pensive friends to pine with penury.
Who bears a princely mind needs princely wealth, or else he'll wither like a rose in spring. Naught will be left but thorns of poverty. Master, thou art no king, no prince. Do well unto thyself, and all is well.
Thou speakest like thyself, and in thy kind. Let those that are born slaves bear abject minds. I, Timon, am, not Lachus.
I, poor Lachus, not Timon. If I were, I would not see my goods by crows devoured as they be.
Is't even so, my learned counsellor? Rule thou this house. Be thou a citizen of Athens. I, thy servant, will attend. Thou shalt correct me as thy bondslave. Yes, thou shalt correct me, Lachus. I will bear as fits a slave. By all the gods I swear, bridle thy tongue, or I will cut it out and turn thee out of doors.
Because I speak the truth.
But peace, once more, I say.
Yes, I'll not mutter. I'll as silent be as any counsellor without his fee.
In glorious days lead they, whose inward part Apollo hath not made of better clay. It is to me a triumph and a glory that people finger point at me and say, this is he that his large wealth and store scatters amongst the commons and the poor. He doth not sit at home and hug himself, rubbing his greedy right hand with his gold, whilst poor men their misfortunes do deplore under the open air. Lachus, bestrow the streets with gold, and let the people know how bountiful the hands of Timon are.
So Jove me, love, I had rather rotten eggs or stinking piss pots cast upon their heads.
The noise ascends to heaven. Timon's great name in the gods' ears resounds to his great fame. This I hear willingly, and 'tis far sweeter than sound of harp or any pleasant meter. I, magnified by the people's cry, shall mount in glory to the heavens high.
They exit, or do they? I don't think they do. Act 1, Scene 2, knocking at Timon's door. Enter Eutrapelus and Abyssus, the usurer, following him. Then enter Timon and Lachus.
Love, pleasure, joy, delight dwell in this house. How farest thou, my humane Jupiter? What, art thou jovial?
I envy not Jove himself.
By Venus' lap I swear, thou seemst to me to be too sad. Why walk'st thou not the streets? Thou scarce art known in 10 taverns yet. Subdue the world with gold. Seest thou this fiend?
But what is he?
A griping usurer, Abyssus named. That man that knows him not will scarcely believe what a damned knave he is. I with my cloak muffled my face, mine hat pulled o'er mine eyes. I walked through the byways of the town, the schools, the Cinque Porta, the marketplaces, by nooks and crooks I went, yet this bloodhound, scents, swiftly follow, hath me at a bay, nor hath departed from my side this day.
His love's officious.
Eutrapelus, pay me my money.
Didst ever hear a cuckoo of a note more inauspicious?
Pay what thou owest, Eutrapelus. Thou wilt my clamour never shall go free. Where'er thou goest, I will follow thee. An individual mate, when thou shalt dine, I'll pull my meat out of thy very mouth. When thou wilt sleep, I'll fly about thy bed like to a nightmare. No, I will not let thine eyes to slumber or take any rest.
Proceed'st thou still with thy obstreperous noise? So help me Bacchus, I had rather see Medusa's head, the dreadful basilisk, hobgoblins, yea, infernal Cerberus. Foe, tell him out of doors, lest he infect the whole house with the odor of his breath. Out, out, thou stinkard, man's grand enemy.
Our controversy law shall soon decide. Thou shalt perceive what a fellow I am. I'll make thee look worms through the prison gates, unless you satisfy to me my debt in good and lawful money.
By great Bellona's shield, by the thunderbolt of Panom, Phaean, Jove, by Neptune's mace, by the Acroceraunian mountains, and by the glistering gems of thy red nose. Go hence, or else I'll crush thee like a crab. Look to thyself, thou damned usurer. Look to thyself. I give thee fair warning.
Thou shalt not fright me, and with thy bugbear words, thy mountains of Astronia, nor yet thy Peloponnesian Jove I fear. I ask what is my own.
Thou log, thou stock, thou Arcadian beast, know'st thou not what 'tis to be honoured? Is't not a credit and a grace to have me be thy debtor?
Leave him not, Abyssus. Oh, how I long for the confusion of this same rascal that confounds our house.
Thou shouldst have paid the first of the calends. 'Tis now the 3rd day.
Send for the servants.
Timon, lend me a little gold dust to free me from this fiend. Some fewer talents will do it.
Yea, take 5. While I have gold, I will not see my friends to stand in need.
Heroic spirit, I will thee adore. and sacrifice to thee in frankincense.
I scarcely am myself. I am stark mad. The gods and goddesses confound this scab.
Come hither. What's the total sum?
This bill will certify you if you read it.
Come not too near. I fear that shining ignis pautus, which the lamp of the nose doth bear about. Approach thou not too nigh. 200 pounds. Well, thou shalt have it at the next exchange. Then there of me thy debt thou shalt receive.
If not, the prison then.
Exit Abyssus.
The apple of Tantalus now follow thee. O sweetest of things, thou hast redeemed thy friend. In mirth and jollity this day I'll spend. Bring me hither a cup of wine filled to the brims. Let's always drink all up. I love a cup that swims. God Bacchus, thee we adore, thee we implore, oh sweet Bacchus.
Eutrapelus, thou holdst thine own. But why wearest thou a plume of feathers in thy hat? Art thou a lover or a soldier?
Be soldiers they that list. Rather, I think, it's safer far to quaff, carouse, and drink, and to embrace a lass within my bed, at my own home.
True, where the pot's thy pike, thy bed thy horse, thy wenches merry make a shield and buckler to receive thy lance.
Thou'rt in the right.
There might be some lines omitted here, there might not.
This plume of feathers she did give to me, as a conspicuous symbol of her love.
Truly a worthy gift. But surely Venus was not a friend to my nativity. I oft have watched at my sweetheart's door and offered up whole hecatombs of tears. I put on black apparel, at midnight played at her window on my sweet stringed lute. I sung her love songs. Nothing could her move. But when she saw the shining gold, my love, why standst thou there? What's my gait? A bandog? My honey, give me this. Nay, if thou lovest me, I prithee give it me. Her gown is rent, or else she stands in need of a gold ring. Something she wants to crave, she will be bold. The man she loves not, but she loves his gold.
By Jove, thou knowest their cunning to share. But, Timon, shalt I thirst within this house? I have not wet my lips with wine this day.
Come, let us in. We will not want for drink.
And they exit and presumably do some drinking. So that sets up the character and the central conceit quite quickly. Timon has a lot of gold. Servant saying, maybe you'd like to. Would you be interested in a saving scheme? Have you considered putting the gold in a box and not just throwing it literally out, just flinging it into the world? And Timon isn't that keen on that. And one of his mates has some money issues, and Timon pays off his debts. And I'm not sure this mate's a good mate. I'm not sure. It might be a bit of a sponger there. Might be a bad thing. Maybe some bad things there, leading Timon astray as well. A lot of drinking potentially going on here. So thoughts in the room about this story so far. Rachael.
I know that you were saying the author of this is unknown. But is there like a certain time period when they know that it crops up?
It's around 1602 is the primary belief. There are some people who would like to ascribe it as being 20 years earlier, but I think the general gist is 1602-ish. That's the general idea. So about pretty much where all the other plays we're currently reading are all situated, but we don't know who it's for, or it's all sort of intimated by the nature of the text, which we may get more clues about anon. Angela.
Lachus is surprisingly miserable for a faithful servant, which is how he's described in our cast list. Not only does he, obviously drive Timon completely mad, but he seems to hate his friends, doesn't he? I mean, he's just desperate to get rid of them instantly.
Liza, you're muted.
Sorry. Wait, Angelo, did you have a thought to finish? I didn't want to step on you. Eutrapelus is not, I don't think he's a friend. I think he falls into the category of parasite. That Timon is deploring the mercenary qualities of women to Eutrapelus, but Eutrapelus is the same. I think, and it's weird. I mean, in the first scene, right, Timon gets a bunch of gold from his rents, presumably land he owned, he's rented out. And he says, "Oh, I will give it. I'll just give it to people." I mean, I suppose he could have just told the people renting from him that they could live rent free if he wanted to be that giving. But, I mean, in Elizabethan morality, again, Angela, please correct me if I'm wrong. You're supposed to give a certain amount to charity, but you're supposed to give within your means and your. The Bible exhorts us to be charitable and not miserly. Easier for a camel to get through a needle's eye than for a rich man to enter heaven. Is Timon giving for the right reasons? Timon seems to be giving because it makes him feel validated, because he tells his servant to literally throw some gold out the window, and presumably a cheer rings up there, and he says how much the noise makes him happy, and people will cry his name and make him famous. So what's Timon's motive for all this giving? We see pretty clearly that he doesn't have a girlfriend. So anyway.
Yeah. Eutrapelus he doesn't seem like a good chap, because it's like he's just standing there. He's just got this money from Timon. Timon's been talking about some other stuff, and he just goes, "Oh, I'm really thirsty. Would you have any wine type? Would you just fill it? Just a bit, So yeah, he's clearly sponging in all the ways, isn't he? I'm sure once he's across the threshold, he's going, "I'm quite hungry as well. Got any food in? Maybe you could order some pizzas. That'd be cool. Make sure it's all the toppings I like. That'd be nice. Maybe garlic bread as well. And could you get some? You can see it going on like that for a while. Any other thoughts before? Yes, Eric.
I just like the language that Timon and Eutrapelus are using, stuff like, the lamp of your nose, and sort of crush you like a crab and stuff. It sounds like there's supposed to be these hugely great comparisons, like metaphors and stuff, but they're not. They're just like, it's like the red gems of your nose. And it's like, it kind of drops, and you can sense the comedy in that, and sort of... I don't know where it's going to go, but it certainly feels like comedy, and it's very quick. I mean, we're already on scene 2, so some plays take a lot longer to get here, by comparison, I think.
It's got a lot of energy. It's already sort of punched you in the face, going hi, this play, and it's sort of really imposed its energy on us. I'm always slightly worried about usual character where people describe their nose, but the nose does in this context seem to be more possibly from alcoholic beverage imbibing, because it's more about the colour of the nose than anything else. So there's always that risk with the usual character. So we'll just have to keep an eye out for the risk of anti-Semitic tropes creeping in here. Rachael.
Yeah, I was going to say, as one of the people inside that, to me, it was that he was making some sort of alcoholic thing about it. And then the cracking of the crabs, I thought he was drawing the similarity between the colors, and he was going to say, I thought that was a veiled threat of I'll break your nose. Like.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Let's gather more data. That's effectively one scene, and sort of artificially split. I don't think there's any meaningful exits and entrances going on there, though there might be in terms of manoeuvring. But Act 1, Scene 3 is definitely a different scene with different people running on into a scene that is, after that, the same people, pretty much. And, oh good, it's me again. Great. Act 1, Scene 3, enter Gelasimus and Paedio, his page. There's a table and looking glass. Paedio, behold me, Paedio. Are not my looks graver than they were? Is not my countenance full of gravity?
As grave as a severe Areopagite with his contracted eyebrows.
My witty knave. Dost think I shall ever be an Areopagite?
But stay a while till your beard grow bigger. Otherwise, old men will be ashamed to be overcome in counsel and understanding by one that is barbitulate.
How I myself content myself. I wholly am pleased with myself, from the sole of my foot to the crown of my head. So the graces love me. I would willingly kiss myself. Here, take my cloak, while I view myself a while. See, here's a looking glass. Oh, Lord, what golden teeth have I! What purple-coloured face! Didst ever see things more correspondent?
Your ankles be too little.
The more gentlemanlike. I shall not be a fat, greasy plebeian. What? Speak the virgins of me. Canst thou tell?
They term you delight of men, white boy, noble without comparison. What not? This the like eyes, that the like nose desires, this your cheeks, and that your legs.
Paedio, see that my chamber doors be barred fast, for I am fearful, lest that when I sleep, some of these females pilfer me away. Did I relate to thee, I know not, or hast heard, I am a cousin germain unto Venus.
Master, why say you so a knights?
I love.
No marvel that art loved of so many.
I know not whether I am loved or no.
Can you not sleep for love?
Why, no.
Not you, that are so rich in farms, stately houses, when your rich father left his only heir.
Oh, thanks to the gods, I am not of the rags or fag end of the people. Paedio, see, I have a gold ring with a gem and signet.
How daintily this gem becomes your fingers.
Oh, didst ever see the arms my shield doth bear?
I will remember them.
My knave, relate them.
3 gilded thistles.
Well.
3 fat asses thrown out the deserts of Arabia.
So.
2 boars with gilded stones in a field.
Bloody.
Nay, rather turdy.
But the crest. Dost thou remember that?
Myself not better, a white owl.
Am not I fortunate?
So the gods would have it. But stay, see who comes here.
Act 1, Scene 4. Enter Pseudeocheus to them.
Hail, Athens! Thanks to propitious Jove, thanks to Minerva. Welcome may I be, who, mounted on a wooden horse, this day arrived at Pyrrhus.
Dost hear him, Paedio? He saith he rode upon a wooden horse, that I had such a one. Dost thou know where are any wooden horses to be sold, that need no spurs nor hay? I'll ask this stranger.
Hist, master, stay. Master, what say you to a hobby horse? But he doth mean a ship, and not a horse.
What sayest thou, my boy?
I'll play upon this fellow. I know him well enough. Good gods! How many idly sit at home, like to lame cobblers, and do never see more earth or sea than that where they were born.
He moons not me. I Sparta once beheld from a high turret.
I with my feet have paced the world about.
I'll buy this flying horse and wandering feet.
the Phrynian mountains, though that there I with my right hand touched the very clouds, devouring gulfs, nor quicksands of the sea, did e'er fright me. At gades I washed away, non ultra writ with Heracles' own hand, pacing the miles of Europe, Asia, and Africa, my wearied bones at last are here arrived, and here my labours end.
Shall I speak to him, Paedio? He seems a man of great accompt, that hath viewed so many countries. What shall I say first? Shall I salute him after our manner?
Spruce, neat youth, what if I affront him?
Good God, how earnestly do I desire his fellowship, was I e'er so shamefaced. What if I send and give to him my cloak?
What shall I say? I saw his face at Thebes or Sicily.
I'll send it, Paedio. Give him this cloak. Salute him in my name. Hist, thou mayst tell him, if thou wilt, how rich my father was.
I come to thee, a badging messenger. Our Lord Gelasimus from the Golden Hill sends thee a cloak, a sign of his goodwill.
Oh, that he takes it kindly.
A cloak? And why a cloak?
There was not all in Athens while he lived richer than his father.
What? As a token of his love, sayest thou? Return this answer to that noble youth. I, Pseudeocheus from the bloody tower, do wish him more than 20,000 healths. Whoe'er he be he more fortunate than they that live in the isles fortunate, or in the flourishing Elysian fields. May he drink nectar, eat ambrosia.
Oh, how daintily his speech flows from him.
Tell him I will salute him.
The stranger, sir, desires to salute you.
Oh, that's my desire. I will meet him.
I will affront him.
I wish admittance of society.
Oh, how this proffered service sticks.
I thee admit, thou needst not be ashamed. I seem less than I am. Who hath lurked close, hath lived well.
Live ye so well, ye that are prisoners, ye closely lurk, I know that well.
Though here set I my foot without a guard, I have whole islands at my beck and nod.
Lord, what a potent friend have I obtained. Ay, what countryman, I pray you, sir.
A worldling.
Oh, what a spacious country hath this man. Oh, Athens is but a point compared to it.
Here's a neat city, stately houses.
Oh, you never saw my house in Ramnus Street. I spent £10 in painting on my doors to make it known whose house it was.
I have seen fair among the antipodes.
Oh, what, were you among the Antipodes?
About 3 years, 6 months, and fewer days. As I remember, I departed thence, last day of March. So 'tis last day of March. My calendar tells me the very hour.
This is no worldling, he's some Cretan.
On foot or horse, whence thou this great voyage?
Up to the fields, Gustidonian. I rode on horseback. The Antipodes were distant thence about 100 miles. There I being seen, the pygmies fearfully fled all away.
Oh, they took thee for some centaur. Ha ha he.
True, I perceived it, did descend my horse. I said I was a man. They humbly came. One as a page I took, dismissed the rest.
If I among them were, would they accept me for their kings?
They would, if I did send with thee my letters commendatory.
Jove willing, my journey will begin next month, and in the whole first year of my reign, then Paedio shall be a noble man.
At last I came to the Antipodes.
What? Before even?
. 30 minutes past 6.
But what did they?
They all amazed were. Admire, concur, they bring me to their king, where I was feasted, placed at his right hand.
For honour's sake.
When I departed thence, this ring he gave me.
Oh, prithee, let me see it. Wilt thou that we exchange, my Pylades?
I am a man. I'll not deny my friend. By Jove, my ring is made of brass, not gold.
Oh, happy me that wears the king's own ring of the Antipodes.
So I bless my friends.
Master,
What, my slave?
perchance this man hath brought with him some philter or love-provoking powder, so that you may the love of fairest Callimela gain.
Dost thou think so? My friend, a word or two.
Yes, if thou wilt, 300.
Do you think it possible to obtain a maiden's love by powders or philtres?
Art thou Venus, vassal?
I am a man. Compact of flesh and blood, I feel a stirring heat.
Upon the mountains of Thessalia, I do remember that I saw an oak that brought forth golden acorns of great price. If any young man had but one of these, the maids would almost die for love of him. If I am not deceived, I have of them.
Grant Venus that you have.
One to Thestis, another to Proserpina I gave, when I was last at hell, a third to the queen of the Antipodes, a fourth I lost.
Hast thou not one left?
No, not one.
Oh me, oh wretched me, how are my hopes deceived?
Tut, ne'er despair.
Ah, that thou hadst me blessed with one of these same acorns.
Peace, be still. Without these acorns, I'll effect this will. What is the girl's father?
Paedio, speak. My tongue is mute for grief, my heart will break.
His name's Philargurus, a man-devil.
What is the temperature of his body? Doth choler, phlegm, blood, or melancholy predominate in him?
I know not, I'm no physician.
Oh, blood is predominant, I think. His cheeks are purple-coloured.
The more wanton he. After this manner, then, woo thou the maid, when first thou dost behold her. Laugh aloud.
As if I were o'erjoyed. I will. He. How say you? Do I well? If this be the hardest be, I nothing fear.
What? Canst thou dance and sing? Play thou the girl.
Is't womanly enough?
Sir, hide your beard.
I with a merry countenance thus begin. Fa, la, 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 sol, la, how ist my dove? Fa, la, la, bol, bola, my marrow, my holy day. Fa, la, la, sol, la, me, re, I love thee by Jove. La, fa, la, sol, me, re, la, yours, not his own. Gelasimus from the golden hill, la 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 la, sol, me la de la la sol fa.
Oh, so help me God, a pretty thing. Do men woo maidens so among the Antipodes?
They do.
With prick song?
Yes, yea. Prick song is the only way to woo and win a maid.
It's so she shall not want for that. I'll tickle her with prick song. Oh, how my feet itch with desire. Come, let us go. Thou soon shalt see how thy precepts I do thrive. Fa, la, la, sol, mi, re, sol. Exit. Okay. We have a mark. We have a rich young lordling, as opposed to Timon, who isn't a lordling. He's just got money from his actor. But we've got someone who's a different kind of mark. who basically just, I mean, Pseudeocheus almost doesn't have to do anything to get here. It's just like he just walks into it and just goes, here, let me give you all the things. And he gives him the ring and all this stuff. And again, it's interesting, what the servant isn't helping his master very much here. It seems like the servant is encouraging his master to end up in the worst position at times. So interesting, all sorts of things. So yeah. I seem to notice in the chat lots of people are discussing whether prick is being used as we would use it today. I have to be honest, I'd find it hard to believe that it's not being used that way. And certainly, if this were a boys' company play, I would immediately say yes, it definitely means prick. But we don't know certainly what the auspices for this are, so who knows? Eric.
I was going to say that maybe it is because also we had that other play whose title I can't remember right now, where we had like a series of jokes about, I think it was Tamer Tamed maybe, where we had a series of jokes about like fiddles and strings and all that stuff, and the sort of double entendre with using instruments to denote sort of sexual organs and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, we've got a lengthy song. Is Pseudeocheus just making this up as they're going along, or is this based on? I'm really interested. The fa la 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 sol la how ist my dove. All of that stuff. Is that just improvisation? Is that based on some sort of tune? How is that functioning within the text as a thing? And of course, there's all sorts of weird. It's a weird scene. It's quite fun. Slightly awkward stuff about traveling but that sort of is playing on to, shall we say, what a young chap of the era would expect to see with foreign climates and those strange other peoples. So in a sense, Pseudeocheus is playing him for a mark at that point. So it's sort of is slightly getawayable with. Other thoughts in the room about this scene and what's going on here and people. Rachael, then Eric.
Yeah, I was gonna say the language, the multisyllabic language that they use in all these tricky names of places seems to be part of the joke. I mean, especially in this scene where the guy's faking to be a well-traveled lad, gent, whatever you want to call him. And just making up all these stories of all his accomplishments, almost like a little bit of a commedia. Capitano is coming in a little bit, maybe, perhaps. And I feel like you could use something with those long names and use those trip ups, a little bit in you could have two actors with two different pronunciations, like Gelasimus using the correct one and Pseudeocheus using the wrong one, and just keep using all the wrong pronunciations of things.
Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a moment that it made me think that was what was going on. And I'm just wondering what Paedio is doing in the background, sort of like, while these two are chatting, because he's kind of like, he does have some interesting sides about like, I will affront him. I will make, sort of basically ruin the situation. But it kind of, yeah, it does also seem a bit like a boys' company type thing, because, Gelasimus does go, is it womanly enough? The whole pretending to be a girl scenario. Sir, hide your beard. And it's like, it might just be a fake beard that is removed. That's what I was thinking, just for fun. Also, the fa la la bit is could be the actual notes from the song, because that would be the Greek or definitely not. I don't know what the system is called, but it's definitely the Greek way of denoting music.
Boom shakalaka. Liza, and then Rachel.
Sorry to tread on Rachel's toes, though. The fa la la sol re mi sol. They absolutely could be notes of the gamut. You do see those used in other songs of this period, but they could also just be a refrain. You never know when something starts with fa la la, and yeah, I mean, as we've said, Prick's song was songs complicated enough to need sheet music where the notes were pricked out with a pen on a stave with a pen. And yes, it was also a joke, though. I'm what I was turning over in my head is Gelasimus is he's in the dramatis personae as a city heir, and I wonder how young he's supposed to be. I wonder if he's supposed to be a boy or as much of a boy as his page is. I think Eric's point about the fake beard is, a good point. Pseudeocheus, now we've got the character of a traveler or a feigned traveler. And it's interesting that Paedio describes the beloved Callimela's father as a man-devil, because Pseudeocheus is also something of a man-devil. One of the main sources of travelers' tales was a book called The Travels of Sir John Mandeville. So I don't know, interesting little corner shot there, if true.
I think Gelasimus is supposed to be quite young. I don't know if he's necessarily a boy, but he's definitely sort of a young person, quite wealthy and affected because of that. Rachael, then Eric, and then we will move on.
Yeah, when it came to the Fa La La song, I didn't know if that was trying to do something with the scales or not. But maybe at the very least, it could just be denoting a change in the note, if that makes sense.
Eric?
Yeah, I was going to say that the sort of, I think Gelasimus is actually young, because he did say sort of the whole beginning of the scene is basically what will I look like when I get older, and sort of it does seem very fitting that he's kind of, you shouldn't grow a beard because you have to wait till you grow a beard, because we're told that he doesn't have one or much of one. You see.
Right. Do we do? Yes. Okay, lovely. Let us go on then into Act 1, Scene 5. We have the return of Timon, Eutrapelus, Hermogenes, and Lachus.
Here do we live, and have the world at will. Fare dainty, drink stiffly, lodge softly. If such delights be even among the gods, by Jupiter, I'll suffer both mine ears to be bored thorough with a cobbler's awl.
My friends shall drink no less, with pleasant sack my cups shall flow.
That is even sweeter than the god's nectar.
I have no leeks or garlic at my table.
We feed on partridge, pheasant, plover, quail, snipes, woodcocks, larks, ambrosia itself.
Is he not mad that carefully doth watch 1,000 heaps of wheat, and dares not taste one grain thereof? Or he that drinketh less, having his cellars fraught with pleasing wines? I'll use my treasure and possess my wealth and spend my days in pleasure whilst I live. We shall go naked to our sepulchres and carry not one groat away with us.
Thou speakst Sibylla's leaves, if I one do it. Except 1/2 penny, bear to my grave. Let Sharon thrust me as a greedy knave out of his boat, forthwith into the lake. Here, Timon, knowest thou what Hermogenes, undined, would have? How well he sings and fiddles.
And Hermogenes sings, though of course Angela is under no obligation to do so.
Lovely Venus sported, and with Mars consorted, while swarthy Vulcan in his shop at his forge did limp and hop. The same the sun espied, to Vulcan it decried, who, when that he reputed himself to be cornuted, in a great rage did stammer, and swore by his great hammer, his bellows, forge, and firelight, that injury to requite. He placed a net of wire, where Mars, to cool's desire, met fair Venus in the wood, there to do what they thought good. Mars, being taken, swears. Fair Venus sheds forth tears. The gods, spectators, smile to see them thus beguiled. Now, quoth Vulcan, I am glad. My horns ache not half so bad.
Hermogenes, thou hast deserved thy dinner.
Well, let me have it then.
Why suffer you this fiddler in your house? There's not a verier knave in all the town. If he depart not, master, by your leave, I'll thrust him out of door.
Is it even so? Come hither, Hermogenes. Give him a cuff, a sound box on the ear. Be not afraid.
I am afraid of him, lest he strike me again.
Why standst thou so? Strike him, I say.
But if thou touch me,
What then?
I'll dash thy brains out with thy fiddle.
I will not touch him. Hercules himself would not abide his furious countenance.
Now strike, Hermogenes. His hands are bound.
Timon holds him.
Let me see that. Are they bound fast enough? My heart is at the bottom of my hose.
Why dost thou thus delay?
Now I strike.
He strikes him.
Have I not paid him soundly?
Oh, ye gods! Oh, what shall I say? If health itself desire to save his family, it cannot be.
By Jove, I made him bellow like a bull.
Hermogenes, come hither. Take this gold and buy thee brave apparel. This same man I'll give thee to attend thee.
Oh, happy day!
This fiddler I envy. Would Lachus had forbidden me the house. Lachus, dost see me, Lachus? I am a knave too, Lachus.
Spend and consume, give gold to this, to all, your riches are immortal.
I'll pull thy eyes out if thou add one word.
But I will speak. If I were blind, I'd speak.
What? Art thou so magnanimous? Be gone. The door is open. Freeze or sweat, thou knave. Go hang thyself.
Master, farewell. Is this my love's reward? Varlets, farewell, hateful to gods and men. You lusty fiddler, if I meet with thee, I'll knock thy brains out. Exit Lachus.
Full glad am I he's gone. I was afraid.
What dost thou with this tattered habit? I'll have thee proudly go in rich apparel. Hold up thy head. I will maintain it.
This man this day rose with his arse upwards. Today a fiddler, and at night a noble.
How I do scorn these rags! I, a fiddler? I go a-fiddling? No, not I, by Jove! Sirrah, I must cast off thy company.
He shows his gold, given by Timon.
Thou art no fit companion for me. Thy face I know not. Thou 3-farthing jack, get fellows like them thyself. This is it.
Shows his gold again.
Makes me a nobleman. Dost hear me, Timon? When shall we go to dinner? I suppose I have a stomach like a dog.
We'll go.
And they exit. All sorts of interesting things there. So Hermogenes, the singer, musician, Interesting. Within a week, we've come back to another Hermogenes. We had one in last week in The Arraignment by Ben Jonson, and in fact probably is the same sort of figure from a sort of antiquity type name for a type singer person. So yeah, interesting. And okay, so Timon encourages Hermogenes to hit his servant, and in fact ties his servant up so he can hit him. I mean, there's a really dodgy labour relations going on here. It's one thing for Timon to be flinging his money around. It's another thing for is people to be hitting other people. I mean, yeah, I'm with Lachus here, going screw you. Didn't want your job, Liza.
Yeah, this is a thing. How he treats his servant certainly makes Timon less sympathetic, I think, to the audience. Although there were plenty of characters who beat their servants and were sympathetic. But I think this is meant to show that Timon's esteem is easily won and that he has no judgment. Hermogenes sings a song. Timon decides Hermogenes is the best singer in the world and he's going to shower him with cash. Lachus is like, should you really be giving all this cash to this dude who you heard sing one song and who wasn't even particularly polite to you? Yeah. So basically, Timon is punishing Lachus for truth-telling and he's not protecting his own people of his own household. Instead, he's subjecting Lachus to abuse and saying that a mere musician, oh God, should be able to strike his servant. Whereas one of the things about having a servant is that you protect your servant and nobody but you gets to beat your servant if you beat your servant, in early modern terms.
You don't get to beat my servant. That's my job. That's the logic of the situation. So that's why he's not a very good master in this. And and you're right. Lachus is giving him dropping some truth bombs, and it's not going down well, is it? But it's also Hermogenes' rise as well of just going. He's suddenly got a few gold coins and he's going, I am more important than all of you now. And it's like you've created a monster. It's like money makes people into monsters and makes them forget, where they're placed in society. I mean, who knew that was a thing? Eric.
Yeah, we had, I think it was the Cases Altered where one of the servants was, I think it was Onion, who was going to be beaten by the Count or something. But then sort of no one else could beat him because he was he belonged to the Count. Therefore, the Count didn't let anybody beat him, except maybe Garlic, who chased him up a tree, which is, you have to go watch the video for that. It's just too funny. Yeah. I don't know. This is a very interesting scene, as you said. I did have another point to make about servants and relationship between, because like Timon and Lachus seem to be actually like almost like friends. Like maybe the next day they'll be like he'll hire him back again or something. I don't know. It just seems to be like something that they do, and then like, I don't know. Maybe this is me because Lachus doesn't worry at all about like sort of the whole situation, being homeless or not finding food, not finding work or anything. He just kind of leaves. And the other thing I was thinking was that someone playing a fiddle would not want to sort of hit anyone like physically, because when you punch someone you can dislocate something, and that would be very bad for a fiddler. He would not be able to make a living. So yeah,
that's true. He doesn't want to damage his hands, does he? His beautiful magical hands. Yeah, absolutely. Just a general note on just the language and the way that this is phrased. I mean, it's really dancing along this dialogue. There's some great lines, and there's some really, it's really fruity stuff. It's light, even though potentially this is quite a dark scene, and it it could play in slightly different ways, but it's also just got some. I mean, Lachus does have a good, exit line, and there's some really nice bits, and even Hermogenes going, "I made him bellow like a bull." I mean, it's just so. I mean, how drunk is everyone in this scene? I mean, that's an interesting question, because that sort of slightly gives Timon an out a bit if everybody's a bit drunk, which might be a way of just smoothing off some of those edges. Who was next? Though I saw other hands. Rachael, then Eric, and then I'll go. Yes, Rachael.
I was just gonna say, there's something about this that is reminding me of those interludes that we had that we were doing a while back. Like things like that, where what was the one that it was like one of the characters was called like good fun, or like honest recreation, and like dis recreation and things like that, and it feels like one of those. And maybe the other people, like, ignoring our modern respect for human rights, that him being able to abuse his servants versus other people hit his servants. Maybe that also has to do kind of like with how there's always cuckolds in a lot of these plays, that it's like somebody who, that allowing other people to do something that's considered his station as a dishonor unto himself and his rank.
Okay, we will go to Eric, and then we'll move on.
I was going to say that it's kind of like a reverse Orlando Furioso, where Orlando beats up the fiddler, whereas here he's inviting the fiddler to beat someone else up. And also, there's a part of me going, does this exist in the same universe as Club Law?
It feels like it's from the same universe as Club Law, doesn't it? It does feel like maybe not Boys Company, maybe we're moving towards more studenty type material, which we've done a fair amount orbiting this temporarily. So the energy seems to be there, but I actually don't know. I feel it could fit within a number of different locales at the moment. But yeah, let's keep exploring. Let's see where we go. We have another scene coming up. Act 2. We're into a new act. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Gelasimus, Pseudeocheus, and Paedio at one door, and Philargurus and Blatte. We've not met Blatte at another. So Venus be propitious unto me, as I do think myself obliged to thee. O Pseudeocheus, thou shalt presently see how acutely I have profited.
Blatte! Here, take the keys. Bar fast the doors. Unless my spectacles deceive my sight, I see some strangers coming hitherward.
Die let me, if I do not think myself an amiable youth.
Hast thou bastard?
Without your leave, here enters not a mouse.
How cleanly combed, how spruce and neat all are. The next to Gelasimus, holding his hand under his chin.
This love lock, let it dangle at the left ear. Hold up your head. So, a little higher.
Oh, by Jove, thou hast an apt disciple. I sucked this aptness from my nurse's breasts.
It is a sin to blush. Be impudent.
I blush? I scorn to blush, by Jupiter. I am no academician, no fool.
Blatte, observe, lest any climb the wall until untie on my rafters, or break into my house.
Be not so careful. I'll look to each place.
Master, I see old Philargurus stand before his door.
Salute the old man.
Once and again save you, Philargurus.
Whence art thou? What is thy business?
Speak, Pseudeocheus. Who am I?
This is a noble youth of Athens.
What house?
Rich Megadorus was his father.
The next house to Piraeum was one of his.
That was his heir to a farthing.
Whate'er he had, he dying left to me, platters of gold and cups of silver, farms, towns, edifices, servants, ploughs, and oxen.
Were you the son of Megidorus?
I am, or else my mother did deceive me.
Truly a neat youth, of a smiling look. Oh, that he could woo me and love me too. I'm not yet so old as to be despised.
I, Megidorus, did well know. Sober, and thrifty man was he, rich in much gold, hearty and provident.
He my father was. I am a blossom sprung from that same tree.
Give me thy right hand. By lady, sir, your lands are very great.
I thank my fortune. I am no beggar.
This man's rich enough to wed my daughter. Where is thy wife?
What?
Thy mind doth wander. Art thou in love?
In love with your daughter. I am besides myself for love of her.
True, I assure you, I can witness it. Believe me, sir, I ne'er saw with these eyes in all Arabia, Paphlagonia, Syria, Thessalia, Persia, or in the Oriental India. A young man more in love, not one so much.
This fellow's tongue has travelled very far.
Oh, poor wretch, he doth amazed stand. He makes me almost weep.
Nay, sigh so, man. Ne grieve, or vex thy mind.
If you consent, the maid I do not fear.
I give consent.
You have revived me. Did I not stand as dead as any stone?
Blatte, call me Callimela hither.
Exit Blatte.
Dost thou remember the wooing lesson that I this morning taught thee?
Oh, yes. That's at my fingers' ends, I warrant you. Enter Callimela and Blatte.
So, conquer but her. The victory is thine.
Come, Camellia, the unexpected time is now at hand. A neat, dainty wooer desires thy fruition. Oh, that I had such another would be my bed's desire. Behold, how sweetly he doth frame his look.
Oh, begone from me. I need no prompter eye. What is't? No, I remember.
What? Why laughst thou so? That's not my daughter.
He knows not the manner of the Antipodes. Fa la 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 sol la 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 la. How dost thou, my dove? La 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 sol la. My marrow, my happy day. Fa li la la. Sol la mi re. I love thee! By Jove, la fa la la mi re sol la. Thy not his own Gelasimus from the Golden Hill. La 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 la. Sol mi la mi re la. Fit eol fa.
Stand off.
Oh, Juno, be not angry with thy Jove, but let me kiss thine eyes, my sweet delight, my sparrow, my honey, my duck, my coney.
Refuse thou not this young man's love. He's noble.
My Venus, frown not so.
You are deceived. I am not Venus.
But by Jove thou art, thou Venus art. Why do you it deny?
I well remember once I kissed Venus in Paphos' isle, but I forget her flavor.
Thou Venus art. Thou Venus art. I know thee to be Venus. Hist! Tell me what to say.
My honey, shall I taste of your delights?
My honey, shall I taste of your delights?
What, do you think I'm a honey sop?
Not I, by Jove.
Dull pate is this. He nothing hath that is his own, but only this, by Jove.
Thou sweeter art than any honey sop.
Fly thee therefore for fear thou eats me.
What? I eats thee? Hist, hist.
I had rather die with hunger.
I had rather die with hunger. I swear by these thy golden cheeks.
Excellent beyond compare.
I know not how to woo a virgin. Oh, how great soe'er I am a mere ass. Am I not, Paedio? Art thou not proud that thou on such a master dost attend?
Speak, Callimela, speak. Shamefaced girl, do thy affections consympathize?
Forsooth, when I was like your Callimela, for I was like her, I had many suitors, but foolishly I did reject them all. First, Tyrenno, because his beard was red, Albius, because beardless, Demetrius, because he was a spindle shanked, and Curio I did not favour because his long nose was as impudent unto his kissing. But now, alas, I never more shall see such happy days.
So, go on again, and say thus to her, I am yours, sweet. Answer, I am thine.
I yours am, sweet. Answer, I am thine. Oh, how this joys my heart. More, sweet Pseudeocheus, more.
Why musest thou?
Must I then be a wife?
Thou shalt be, my own girl, Callimela.
I muse which of us two must master be, I or my husband. I'll subject my neck to no man's yoke. Is this a citizen?
A wealthy one.
I shall but better rule. The wives of citizens do bear the sway, whose very hands their husbands may not touch without bended knee, and think themselves happy if they obtain with so much grace. Within their arms to bear from place to place, their wives find little pretty foisting hounds. They do adore their wives, whate'er they say. They do extol, whate'er they do, they praise. Though they canute them, such a man give me.
Dost thou remember?
I am memorious. What is the mountain?
Paphlagonia.
Paphlagonia. My rose, my lily, are you yet resolved upon the mountain Paphlagonia? There is a stone which, when the sun doth rise, shineth like gold. At setting of the same, is suddenly made black.
Apply.
I am the stone. When I behold thy face, I seem as gold. If thou the same once hide, I am made black. Sweetheart, dost thou love me?
Speak, Callimela, speak. Do not blush.
Yours am sweet. Answer, I am thine. Oh, did not I speak it in a fitting time?
What thing doth please my father pleaseth me.
I know she loves me. As I live, I have a face imperious.
But this observe, I will be called mistress, not wife.
Thou shalt be called Helena, a queen. How sayest thou? Hath not Venus been my friend?
I wish you both the love of turtle doves.
I long nights, Venus delights, and children.
So Jove me love, I am so overjoyed, I scarce know where I am. What, may I kiss?
I'll carry her a kiss. To kiss 'twere sin before the nuptial celebration.
Is this a use, too, among the Antipodes? Well, this scarcely pleaseth me. I, Callimela, send thee a kiss. I, thy Gelasimus. When I am married, I will also kiss. Tomorrow I will bring thee to my towns. Thou shalt my lands and large revenues see. How many sheep and oxen I do feed. How many servants are at my command, my parks and painters posts before my doors. What sayest thou, my mistress and my queen?
Make ready for the nuptials. This night my Callimela and I will sup at home.
Exit Philargurus and Callimela. Ah, how lovingly she tamed back her eyes.
Young men, farewell. I am this maid's keeper.
Farewell, most ancient keeper.
If I can pleasure you in anything, I am at your command. Once more, farewell.
Exit Blatte.
What shall we do, Gelasimus?
With all speed we will go to Timon's house, where feasts with mirth and laughter do abound. Come, let us go. I cannot brook delay till I have told them of my wedding day. Exit. Wow, Blatte's horny. I'm at your command. Oh yes, I'm sure Blatte is. Wow, yeah. I think it'd be fair to say the fair maid is not enthusiastic. It's just, yeah. Gelasimus is trying his best, but he's not very good at this, is he? He's really not very good at this, and there's an awful lot to mine out of all of this. It's very nicely done. You've got split stage with different things at different places, different people talking to other people. It's really complicated, actually, what's going on here. And, you know, we can only get a vague impression across by reading it this way and across this medium. Rachael.
I love this sort of Cyrano de Bergerac, you know, like, I'll feed the lines to you, but it's not just that the lines are terrible and that the way he's going about them obviously is not having the effect that he wants on her. But it's that he's doing it in front of all these people and not, you know, like at the window in the darkness in the bushes or something like that in the traditional lover's way, or the way that we saw last week with Ovid and Julia at the end of their storyline, where it's in private, it's in front of all these people, and he's just singing at somebody he doesn't know, which is so, which I think is just so funny, because it's like just another like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, and it's also the way that Gelasimus actually has a moment where he just sort of goes to himself, just goes, I'm rubbish at this, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's actually quite endearing that, you know, it's not like, yes, he still manages to say, even though I'm great, in the middle of the line. It still says, you know, I'm rubbish at this, I'm an ass, but even though I'm amazing. It's just... There's something really quite pleasing about all of this. And yeah, just the fact you've got this really, really, difficult, in theory, difficult potential father-in-law who's, you know, lock the doors, don't let anyone in. But then when he goes, I'm rich. Oh, lovely. You can marry my daughter, won't you? Yes, I'm sure she'll agree. Won't you? And then horny Blatte. And yeah, it's just such a wonderful combination. I just love the fact you've just got Blatte, who's patently just sitting there going, in the background. Eric.
Yeah, I like to think that like Gelasimus has stepped out of a musical and he's like sort of, you know, just he's stepped out of a romance play, and obviously Callimela has been watching like plays, has stepped out of a play that is like, I don't know, Callisto and Melody type thing. And she's obviously with Melody on the whole, you know, Melibea, sorry, on the whole, you know, the way you treat men who are attracted to you kind of thing. But her dad is not, because obviously money. So it's kind of, yeah, it just feels a bit like on very different levels. But I love the way this scene is set up, and she's probably just like, yeah, whatever, I'll just boss him around and please let him sleep with someone else. I don't want to sleep with this guy.
And it's interesting, the Callimela is, father basically says, what are you thinking about? Why don't you answer the question? He's going, well, I'm just trying to decide who's going to be in charge when we get married. What's the nature of this relationship going to be? Because I'm not keen on being yoked to somebody else here. I don't like this power dynamic. So yeah, I really like her. It doesn't say an awful lot, but there's clearly there's a brain going on there. I like that. Other thoughts briefly before we move on to the final scene for the session. Rachael.
Eric brought up before onion and garlic from that one Ben Jonson play. And we also had the old father there who was like barring the doors of his house to keep his daughter's chastity and hiding his gold, like the case is altered, like, hiding his gold and shit. And things like that. And it makes me wonder, like if these, guys are maybe have some inspiration from Jonson, if some of his plays have been coming out and, it's possible that these guys were able to see him.
Mm. Yeah, I have to say that, because I mentioned the musician earlier is the Hermogenes musician is as per a Ben Jonson play from, about a year or so before this. So maybe, those are direct steals and references that may be lifting. Though, of course, it could just be a total coincidence and have nothing to do with it whatsoever. Anyway, we have a scene to get through before we close the session. So, Act 2, Scene 2. Enter Lachus and Hermogenes with a gilt rapier. Ooh. My face I have disfigured, that unknown I may again be placed in Timon's house. Lachus is turned to a soldier, a resolute hackster, with his scars and sword, my whiskers hanging o'er the overlip. All things agree. Hoy! What a sponge comes here. How spruce he is, whom see I, the fiddler that gave me such a box, the very same.
What man would say that I am a fiddler? I, Hermogenes? Where are my rent shoes, torn rags, my fiddle? What's this, my fiddle case?
He looks on his rapier.
Good people, do I wake or do I sleep? I cannot think myself, Hermogenes.
I'll make thee feel thyself, Hermogenes, and he beats him and hoodwinks him.
Why dost thou beat me so? Why dost thou thus hoodwink me? Let me not live, if that I am Hermogenes. The gods I call to witness I never runned any. What dost thou? I was born this day I first saw light.
My name is Nemesis.
Sweet Nemesia, what wouldst thou have?
I am thy evil spirit.
What? I'm supposed to be like this.
Yes. Hoodwinked, yes.
What? There are two of thee? Oh, spare me, good evil spirit.
No, thou shalt be beat because thou art a slave.
Oh, no. Oh, sweet Nemesis.
I'll pluck thine eyes out.
Oh, good evil spirit, do not so torment me. Oh.
Farewell, fiddler, farewell, Hermogenes.
What did he say? Farewell? I know not well whether I live or no. Oh, 'tis well I breathe. Oh, Jove, oh, son, suffer you this sin. Send Mercury from heaven to help me. Blind I am, altogether blind. I see nothing but dark. Oh, heavens, oh, seas.
Good gods, from what a deadly war escaped I. Halberds were charged and swords against me drawn. With my buckler did receive the blows.
Oh, good soldier, pity a poor blind man.
Who art?
Nemesis hath plucked mine eyes out.
What? Nemesis?
My evil spirit, I am more blind than any mole. Prithee lead me to Timon's house.
Thou art not blind. Some man hath hoodwinked thee.
never persuade me. I am blind, I know, my eyes are out.
I will restore thy sight, fear nothing. What? Dost thou see as yet? As yet?
Oh, ye immortal gods! I see! Oh, well done, old soldier! I give thee thanks.
I am not fed with thanks. What dost thou give?
Come, I will make thee one of Timon's house.
And they remain Act 2, Scene 3. Enter to them Timon, Eutrapelus, Gelasimus, and Pseudeocheus. Okay, I'm playing 2 people at the same time. This will be fun.
10 furies pulled my eyes out. 10, by Jove! This soldier restored my sight again. What, shall he be thy servant?
What's thy name?
McShane.
Be thou true. I receive thee.
Oh, save you, nobles, save you, Timon, save you, Eutrapelus. How fare you, jovial?
Ah, thou seems more neat than thou wast wont to be.
Oh, I am more merry. Knows ye this same man?
I ne'er beheld his face before. What's he?
Oh, this man is rare and hath no parallel. Have travelled Africa, Arabia, and the remotest isles. Yea, there's no nook or crook in land or sea but he hath seen.
What? In a table geographical?
Oh, I pray you note the man.
He doth so finger beat his breast. I think he is about to call art.
What doth he murmur thus? Frames he verses? 'Twere sin to interrupt him.
Oh, not so. No, not so. Pseudeocheus, these noble sparks desires your company.
Take ye. I was transported clean beyond myself with contemplation of my Pegasus. Wonders did obviate my memory, which I saw in the land of the moon.
In what place of the earth may that isle be?
'Tis not in earth, 'tis pendant in the air. Endymion there hath the dominion.
In the air.
Yes, pendant in the air.
Oh, strange.
Fish, this is nothing. I can tell you of a many gallants that did sell their manors here, and built them castles there, and now live like chameleons by there. And stranger things than these I oft have seen.
Come, Pseudeocheus, come along and walk. Your strange discourse shall be our table talk.
And they exit. So, we have a really interesting scene with the servant in disguise who manages to beat up Hermogenes and hoodwinks him so that he thinks he's blind, but he's not. He's fine, and that gives him an in when, in disguise, Lachus manages to get re-employed by his previous employer, who's clearly not paying that much attention. And Timon's been introduced to Pseudeocheus, so I don't see good things happening there. I see a vice entering the household. I see bad things. Just mentioning others, yeah, the sort of a bit like a morality play element. It feels like the vice has entered the building. Thoughts in the room? Angela.
At last, we've discovered the hero. It's definitely Lachus. He's clearly going to save him from giving all his money away to build a castle in the air on the moon.
Yeah. I like the idea that Pseudeocheus is going to try and attract this wealthy merchant into trying to enter the space race. I'm not saying that has any modern connections at all. I just like the idea that Timon's just going to start building rockets. Yeah, absolutely. I think Lachus has a really nice weight to him as a character. I hope that many more adventures continue, and it's got quite a tight structure. Actually, we're mostly sticking with the same selection of characters, the odd little extra one. But this is quite a tight unit. I like plays with tight units of characters because that means fewer actors, and that is good. because cheapness. So at the moment, it may open out later on. I know there are more bodies later on, but they may double in a nice way. We shall find out. Other thoughts? Yeah, there's fighty action, beatingness, hoodwinking. Eric.
That scene, much like one of the previous ones with Lachus, made me think of bugbears, like sort of, because it just has that vibe, sort of, this is the way to deal with people that are not sort of treating you properly, is basically cheat them out of it and then mess them up, psychologically. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of, it's doing some very interesting stuff. Also, I'm trying to work out that had they established that Timon or Timon, if you're watching The Lion King, had they established that Timon and Gelasimus know each other, or is this the first time they actually meet?
I get the impression that they already know each other, and Timon has open house, so it does seem like he just walks in and goes, "Hey," but I could be wrong on that. Liza.
Well, Timon says that Gelasimus, I'm just trying to find the line, thou seemst more neat than thou wast wont to be. So he at least has seen him before.
Yeah, I think Timon knows everybody, because money. He knows all the great people, and I just on a very cheap note, just going back to an earlier scene, Gelasimus's sort of parentage, Megadorus. I can't decide if that's a Transformers character or an extinct dinosaur. It's one of the two. I just love the idea that his parents are an interesting mixed marriage between an ancient extinct lizard and a robots from outer space. Anyway, Rachael.
I was just gonna say, why wouldn't people want to know Timon or whatever? Because he's giving out all this money and all this food and all this beer and all this free stuff all the time. And so why wouldn't people want to be around him? Because he's constantly partying. So I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
Also, just a note on the whole Lachus going for Hermogenes scene. When he's got him hoodwinked, he's clearly going from one side of his head to the other, because he's clearly going, "Ooh, because Hermogenes goes, "Oh, there are two of you." So he's clearly doing a whole series of silly voices to confuse the poor man, probably spinning him round as well. It's very physical and it's very complicated. All of this script, we keep having bits where people are over one place talking and people are somewhere else, and they're sort of talking at the same time. They've got business going on to cover it. This is a really complicated script, actually, to do, and that interests me. I like this level of complexity. Rachael.
I wonder if this comes out around some of the times of like these translations of like Oedipus or like some of the Greek things, because this does seem like, this is like some sort of joke and comedy routine around Oedipus, that this guy must think he's been blinded or something, or that what do you call it, not cliche, but that sort of theme that seems to come into these things after some of these Latin translations come into English.
I'm just trying to think if we've got any hoodwinking scenes like this anywhere else. I don't think we have, apart from what you might call the closest thing we've got is buffeting scenes during mystery plays with Christ. But it's quite a different energy. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, I don't know whether it's going all the way back that far. It might be. I mean, this whole play does seem to be bouncing off a sort of that kind of new comedy vibe to it. Maybe more going with it sort of more modern day Italian texts might be a source, in the same way that Supposes is bouncing off that kind of energy. It's really interesting. I'm really enjoying this. This is just leaping out, just going, this is an interesting thing. Angela.
It seems hard to believe that, somebody dropping a hood over your face, and then you think that you're blind. Isn't a sort of typical thing in a miracle play or some play. I can't believe that you've not got millions of examples of that.
Yeah, I might just have forgotten, but I don't think we might have had a couple of similar things that I just aren't quite as explicitly hoodwinking in this way. So I may just be forgetting, because we have done a lot of plays, many hundreds of plays. So we're well over 400 plays now. So we are, the memory cheats. But I don't think we've got anything quite like this. But maybe other people think. Liza, were you waving?
I was, but then I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, excellent. It's a good system.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. Well, we're going to drift into final thoughts now. Anyway, so we have got a play that's really dancing along quite nicely. I'm really enjoying this. There are very few problems with it that I can find so far. Certainly got a little bit of text tidying up to do. But we seem to have danced through that quite nicely. Lots of set pieces, lots of silliness. It's incredibly silly. I'm feeling like it feels like it's got that club law energy that we had a little while back, and that they might go together quite nicely in a slightly interesting ways. Though one's got a relatively large cast and this one's got a relatively small one. But this also could fit back with much earlier text, like I mentioned, Supposes, or that kind of universe of texts that sort of Italianate but not quite as old as new comedy kind of thing. I'm really enjoying this. It's also set in Athens, so I suppose that would work with Club Law, which is nominally set in Athens as well. So we could do a comedy Athens season. That's there we are. That's the pitch. Anyway, final thoughts from the room. Angela, do you have any final thoughts about the play overall?
Well, I just love it. I think it's been absolutely super, and I just love that absolutely everybody has a sense of humour, even Lachus, who is like well fed up with the way things are going. But even he just looks at Hermogenes and laughs, because the man is clearly an idiot. So I love that.
Eric, any final thoughts? And it looks like you found a blind man's buff, which technically I think is in the future, not in the past. But you have found a text.
Yeah, I just remembered when we read that, because Liza read that quite well. We were trying to work out what was going on, and it was just like reading as sort of the page, the servant who was lusting after his mistress. And anyway, you should go watch it on our YouTube.
What should they go and watch? I don't think you've said it out loud.
Oh, yeah, Humor Out of Breath. It's actually quite funny. And there's bondage, so yay. I mean,
well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, it was funny, and just sort of a servant gets locked in prison and ends up playing the viola da gamba, which he randomly finds because it wasn't placed there before. And yeah, it kind of, this play is doing a lot of like fun stuff, and it feels very light. And I can't sort of, I mean, okay, comedy violence is bad, we know that, but like,
context,
it feels
context.
like. Yeah. I don't know. It's doing interesting stuff, and it's hard to think of sort of things to sort of say that are negative about it at the moment. Just sort of,
yeah,
because it's a comedy. It's kind of bouncing along too fast.
Yeah, it's moving fast. It's got fun things. We can't find that much to complain about. Yes, so Humor Out of Breath is about 5 years ahead in the future. And it's John Day, and it does have a John Day sort of energy vibe to it actually overall. Possibly. Discuss. That's not an attribution. I'm just saying it's got sort of the vibe. Tom, do you have any final thoughts? Blatte.
Yeah. As everybody else, it's frothy, but not in a bad way. It's the froth of froth. It's light. It's very entertaining. Yeah, it just bubbles and yeah, extremely entertaining. It's lovely.
Excellent. Rachel, any final thoughts?
The cousin German thing. Are those tales of Tannhauser? Did they ever make it over to England?
I don't know.
I wonder about that, because I mean, a cousin German in the family sense is I think like a second cousin or a close cousin, or a cousin by marriage or something. Cousin, so you're saying he's a near relation of Venus, but the proximity of Germanness to Venus does make me think of Tannhäuser. And the Minnesingers had been around. I mean, Tannhäuser is a medieval story. If Faustus had made its way to England, I wonder if Tannhäuser did. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yes, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. Besides that, I mean, it was super easy to jump in into the scenes, and I think this would be great for, and audiences if you just wanted a great comedy. I mean, it's so easy to understand, like it's not overly complex. It was very funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's generally a plus from everyone, isn't it? Okay, Liza, any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, like everyone else, I'm liking this play. I'm liking the liveliness of the language. I forget where the story of Timon or Timon Misanthropos originated. Eric, was he a real person?
Possibly?
That's
I'm
people
not sure.
saying while I quickly get a book and have a little look.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just looking up the meaning of Eutrapelus in Greek, because it is actually a word. It's like someone who causes laughter and funny and general cheerfulness, which
that's quite fun. I mean, here, whoever wrote this definitely was a classicist and knew their Greek. We've got a lot of people in the first, we've absolutely got classicist foreshadowing. We've got a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm as happy as the gods. Are the gods any happier than me? I don't think so. Here, I'm sitting here like Jove, and I'm eating nectar and drinking nectar, eating ambrosia. Nothing could possibly go wrong, could it?" There's a lot of hubris, and I kind of like the touch that Timon is awful to his servant, that I like it because it makes him not a sympathetic rube whose good heart is taken advantage of. It makes him a guy whose self-esteem is dependent on being seen as a giver, and who gets really touchy when that gets questioned. Oh, and is there anything things to an early modern audience? There are certain things that seem to always work on stage, and one of those is a dude staggering around with his hood over his head or blindfolded going, "I can't see."
People doing silly things. Yes, it does look like it has a classical basis, but I can't off the top of my books manage, because we're having some issues disambiguating with other things. Angela,
I just wanted to say, so I looked up Timon of Athens. So the whole prospect of the play is the clean contrary way, because he was a legendary misanthrope. So he's precisely the opposite of what the classical authors have written about.
Well, we shall see where we shall see where that might come in. Anon. Right. Well, that's it for this first session on Timon. We will return, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. And you'll regret it for the rest of your lives. All that remains is to thank these wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, and goodbye. This man this day rose with his arse upward.